Welcome back to the Red Bull Battlegrounds here in Austin, Texas. We've got our next matchup about to get started. I'm DJ Wheat.
And I'm Rob Simpson. And up next, we are going to see PartinG versus Squirtle. This is going to be a bit of a battle between teammates. Now, it might confuse you a little bit at home. Squirtle is going to be playing on Legend's account, the most infamous cameraman in the world.
Yes, he's a good one. He's a good one at that. And you know what? This is going to be a crazy, crazy Protoss versus Protoss. We're going to be jumping right into this in just a moment. And there we go. It looks like we have started now. Squirtle, an interesting story coming into there, just coming off of probably one of the greatest GSL finals that has ever been seen. Amazing games versus MVP where he did not win, but he showed the forces that, you know what, he is not a guy that you mess with.
Right, he got it all the way down to the wire there, and now he is going to be faced with yet another challenge here in the lower right-hand corner of Entombed Valley. Moving into game one, this is Startail Squirtle.
And in the northeast position, as the blue Protoss, it's Startail PartinG.
Yeah. Oh man, so PvP is actually one of those like sick, volatile matchups that you almost never see 3 bases on, even 2 bases.
You don't, I mean, we've seen some amazing matches as of late where, you know, we have seen those extended PvP games, but I think 2 players who we know has got very, very meticulous and great control, I think that those games are more apt to end earlier because it does come down to those fewer units and who's got the better control.
Right, because especially in PvP, in a matchup where if you lose a single Zealot or a single Stalker, you're actually so far behind already.
Right. Now we talked a little bit about the positioning as well, Rob, and we can see that we are on the horizontal position, or excuse me, on a vertical positioning, both on the east side of the map. And how will that come into play? A lot of times in PvP, it may not matter at all. You know, obviously, Protoss warping in units can mean we just have those forward attacks. Sometimes we have proxies come out, but not in this case. It looks like we're gonna have a pretty standard opening on both sides. The assimilators about to finish, the gateways about to finish.
That's right.
Let's see.
Yeah, everything's going to be pretty much identical. We can see that it's looking like Squirtle is just like a millisecond behind just a little bit of getting a few of those units out there. And we can also see now both the players throwing down their Psychors. And they're also both starting to save up a significant amount of their energy for that Chrono Boost.
There you go, getting that ready as well. We have the first probe moving out for Startail Squirtle. And now the other thing that we really have to mention is the fact that these 2 guys are teammates. You know, undoubtedly, hey, I need some PvP practice. Who would I go to if I was Squirtle? Probably PartinG. PartinG, same thing, go to Squirtle. So I think it's also one of these interesting things because it sets up that dynamic as how do you play? If your opponent knows your game inside and out, what can you do to make sure that you've got a strategic and sort of a mental edge on your opponent?
Right, and playing between teammates, that's just where you see the most metagaming ever. Right, because you're playing against somebody that you supposedly would know everything that you're going to do, so you just have to always throw in those curveballs any chance that you get. And now we actually have, over here, we saw Squirtle's probe quickly denied by that first Zealot. As soon as PartinG was able to get that out over there. Now he's following up with a Stalker. Now this early engagement can actually get so interesting because with that Zealot and Stalker micro, if you mess up for just a split second and I'm able to kill your Zealot, you actually have to go all the way back to your base. Every time. And
we do have a robo coming out for PartinG here. So the first deviation in this matchup is, it looks like it's not going to be a deviation. Just a couple of seconds later, Squirtle's robo comes out. He is also going to be getting the exact same unit composition. So we are also going to have that observer, that sentry pop out, but that probe was killed, and what great consideration there by Squirtle. A lot of times we see that back path used for exactly that scenario, but that gives him map control as well, as he does have center tower vision, but he's gonna move forward and might be able to do some damage. It's gonna be 2 Stalkers and a Zealot versus these 2 Stalkers here at the front.
Oh, wow, now we have Squirtle starting to close the gap there, and it's looking like PartinG's doing a great job with his stutter step micro. There still hasn't gotten any hull damage onto that Zealot quite yet. Oh man, lands the force field, corners in that Zealot, and finishes it off. And now we see that one of those Zealots for PartinG still has about 50 HP remaining, so obviously a solid trade.
Yeah, and it's going to keep himself alive. Now the pylon's still going down here for Squirtle. He is going to retreat back to his base. So he's now got that observer out. He added 2 additional gateways as well as warp gate research about to finish up. And there it is. The gates will be opening. And here we have another probe coming in there to check out what's going on. And we're gonna have the Immortal is coming out here for PartinG. On the other side, actually, oh, look at this, going for the robotics bay instead. Not even gonna get an Immortal. There it is.
So going on to that one base, Colossus, this could actually get really uncomfortable for Squirtle, mainly because his opponent already has an Immortal in play. It's going to be in a situation where PartinG could easily follow through because he's going to have that one extra Immortal when it gets out there. Whereas we saw Squirtle, he opted to instead add an extra gateway to his production.
So much consideration here by both these players. Observer almost able to get picked off there by Squirtle. He's now moving it back over into position. And here comes another Immortal out, and there's a pylon up at the front too, looking like we might actually go to 2 base here. Once again, PartinG's gonna send that probe around to the east side, and another Immortal gonna come out. Now the robotics bay is done for both players. We're gonna start to see that Colossus production, but no doubt we will have Squirtle just a little bit ahead in the Colossus production overall.
Oh, wow. And now it's actually looking like Squirtle may be poisoning himself. No, actually, just kidding. There's actually no way that he's going to bother going for an expansion here, because if you're down 400 minerals in units and you play against such a high-level Protoss, chances are you're just going to lose the game.
Right, so you got to be careful about that. No win is the right time to go ahead and expand, and this army is moving out with that first Colossus. But what is going to be interesting is that Colossus will be done as well for PartinG. So he's going to have his first one out by the time this army actually gets here. Here's another warp in, going to get another forward pylon. And is he? Oh my God! He's going to find that Colossus right away, but he cannot move forward. Instead, moves back into his base, takes a defensive position, and here we go.
Oh man, and now we actually see Squirtle following up by warming in additional stalkers in the back. He's trying to push up the ramp, but that Immortal is just laying down. Unfortunately, a lot of those Immortal shots are actually going into Zealots right now, but it's looking like Squirtle may be pushed back just a little bit, although this could be a bit of a bait from Squirtle. Now it's been a bit of an even trade. He was able to trade fairly positively here, and now we have the Colossus trying to get away. The other Colossus is now chasing it down. Not able to finish it off, but it did sustain a small amount of hull damage. And behind this, Squirtle has chosen to expand.
Wow, yeah, so he's got to defend here in an absolute manner. He's going to try to pick off a couple of sentries there. The first one goes down. The big difference here is the fact that PartinG does have the second Immortal as well, and that's going to be harder to focus fire down. No force fields are going to stop him as well. He's going to immediately focus fire down. That Colossus moves forward, taking out a ton of these stalkers. And he is going to force his opponent back from the base. Of course, he had to cancel that expansion. He's going to continue to move forward. And this is not a good position here for Squirtle.
And now PartinG might just be too far ahead as far as the unit count goes. And now we see him microing away. Those probes are being fried left and right. And Squirtle just doesn't have enough units to hold this push for PartinG. PartinG could very well seal the game.
And it is going to happen. GG. PartinG takes game number 1 over Squirtle.
Wow, so it was so surprising to see Squirtle go for that expansion shortly after he lost the push. That was a pretty big gamble.
Yeah, it was a big gamble, and you know, considering that second Immortal came out as well, he did delay his Colossus just a little bit, but it allowed him to get that second Immortal out, save the gas, then put down the Robo Bay, and then got the Colossus. And although he did almost lose that in that initial engagement, he played it quite well. So.
Yeah, and there we saw that defender's advantage totally came into play because he was able to just eke out those get out the Immortal just a little bit sooner. And yeah, like you said, the Colossus time suffered just a little bit, but when your opponent's attacking you, you get a few extra seconds to play around.
Absolutely. So the map selection next is going to go up to for Startail Squirtle. We'll find out exactly what he is going to choose here in just a moment. Thanks for joining us here. This is Group C now. We've moved on. Thank you.
That's right.
Group D, excuse me.
This is Group D. The Group C games are also being simultaneously casted on an additional stream.
Right, and so over on the other matchup, I think we're going to have Last Shadow taking on Rhett.
Ooh.
And then, of course, we'll be shifting it up. This is the PvP, though. And we're just waiting for the next map selection here. Ohana, is that what the next map's going to be? Well, there you go. Taking a look at things, obviously PvP not up there, but you know, it's PvP is kind of unique in that a lot of the Protoss players don't actually care what maps they're playing on.
And it's also an incredibly balanced matchup because it's a mirror, so it's 50%. Protoss
no matter
always
what.
wins.
No matter what. So one thing though, I don't know about you, but there's actually a club in my head while we're casting
Yeah, I wonder
the game.
if other people are able to hear that. We're actually like,
do you hear
our
this
brains
music?
are dancing. Do you guys get a little bit of the dance music in here? Oh, yeah. Okay, no, wait, some people, yeah, there it is.
There
That's
it
actually
is.
what we
yeah.
get to listen to the whole match.
That was playing the whole time that last match was taking place. So hopefully it'll move down once we start. There it is, PartinG, looking good and taking game number 1. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people said PartinG and Squirtle would advance out of this group. PartinG could have a huge upset right away, though, if he actually did take out Squirtle. And you can see people say PartinG's PvP is one of the best out there.
That's right, and the numbers don't lie, right? When you have a 70% win-loss ratio, when you're playing a best of 3, you actually win like 90% of your matches.
And if I recall, you know, it's actually Squirtle really wanted, obviously, to beat MVP and take it to the finals, but because he felt like he would go up against Squirtle in a PvP, a matchup that he's incredibly strong at. And we are going to be going on to Ohana next, and there is the